What's going on, people? Welcome to the United Stand. Welcome to the Monday evening show, which is normally the Sunday evening show. I got confused last week when we done this, but when we do have games on the Sunday, we can't just forget about the Sunday lineup. They're too good to do that, and there's too much to say. There's way too much to say. So, welcome to Beth, welcome to Kev, welcome to Rick inside. We've got a lot to get through. A massive week of football for us. Two big games in the cup competitions. Big up to everyone watching at home as well. Let us know where you're watching from, and we'll get your comments read out as well. I know a lot of you are sitting down ready to watch Liverpool as well. Hopefully not get the result against Wolves. But anyway, it's all about Man United. It's all about Man United and Haaland in, Martial out. The reports today that were coming out were basically saying that Man United have... It was quite weird because it said they've settled. The reports were Man United have settled for Haaland as their priority. Oh, yeah, because we had so many other targets that were way better than Haaland. We'll just settle for him, you know. It was the way that these things are written are so silly. But basically, what we can read in between the lines is they did go and say that Solskjaer's... his relationship with him as a countryman, he had him at Mulder. He knows the family very well. Even Ole talking in the press conference is very much like, you know, I speak with the boy, or I think he said the other week, you know, whatever I say to him, I'll be saying to him in Norwegian when I call him, sort of thing. He's got that pally arm around the shoulder thing with Haaland. And a lot of people were saying, what would that mean for Martial? So, Rick, I don't know if you got your Martial mug today, but... what do you think that? Yeah. What would that mean for him? And what do you think about, you know, Haaland, us going after him relentlessly?
Obviously, what I've seen of Haaland is absolutely fantastic, and I'd love us to sign him. It doesn't mean Martial can't play with him. It doesn't mean he can't play as a number 10 or in a 4-4-2. It doesn't mean Martial can't play on the left wing. So there's lots of different options. It also doesn't mean that he won't get some games at number 9 as well, because you wouldn't want necessarily Haaland to play every game. You know, in the good old days, we used to have 2 or 3 really top strikers. You've also got to ask the question. I mean, Mason played at number 9 yesterday and didn't do a bad job. I mean, how far down the pecking order does it push Mason? I've also seen Cavani's frustration. Numerous times when playing with Mason and with Marcus, not getting the ball in the box. You've seen him throwing his arms up in the air. Why didn't that come in the box? So I wouldn't necessarily just automatically assume that Haaland's going to enjoy playing with those players if they're playing on the wings, and whether he would actually get enough chances to score the goals that he's scoring with other teams.
Yeah, because you look at the way Dortmund play, they do create a lot of chances. They do definitely play to his strengths. No matter who plays up front for us, one of the criticisms we always tend to have is we don't create enough chances. Super chat here from Kenneth. Kenneth says, this super chat is meant for Ricky because he is the king. don't go blowing his head up. I don't know about that. Beth, and I'll come to you afterwards, Kev. Beth, what are you saying with Haaland in, Martial out? And not just more so between the two of them. Not should we go for Haaland, because I know you've said many times you'd like Haaland, but Haaland in, Martial out.
Who wouldn't like Haaland? That's the question. But the only thing is, we've heard these rumours today saying we've made him our first priority. I'm pretty sure most top clubs in Europe have made him the top priority. Everyone wants him. You've got Chelsea saying that he's like the missing piece of their puzzle, and we know what their board's like. They'll go out and spend money. So it's not a question if we want him. I would take him if it meant Martial leaving. I would take that just purely because I think he is world class and he is going to be a world class striker. And I don't even care if we don't create chances. It's only going to get better when we introduce more high quality players into the squad. We're only going to create more chances if we get a right winger. If we get a ball playing CDM, we're only going to create more chances. And Shaw's obviously getting more crosses into the box. Wan-Bissaka's developing he's only going to develop more. So I do think he's going to chance it, and I think he'll score a lot of goals for us. Would I get rid of Martial if I had the option though? No, I wouldn't, because if you look at other teams, they have depth in their attacking players, and I think Martial brings a lot to the team. He's got qualities that a lot of other players don't have. He can hold the ball up really well, and I think he makes really good decisions on the ball. I would keep him because if you look at like City, they've got so many different players that can alternate, and that's why they're top of the league. And that's what we need. We need 2 players if not more, in each position. So I wouldn't get rid of him because I still think Martial's top drawer and I still think he can play for us next season.
Jack Lynch says, if I was in charge at United, this is what I would do. I would swap Donny van der Beek and Martial for Haaland and Sancho, plus cash, then Lingard for Rice. Oh, that's a big one. Well, Rick's not having that. I don't know, a little bit of a wince there. I'll come to you in a sec, Rick. Kev, what are you saying then? If the only way you could get Erling Haaland was to release Martial, would you do that? And secondly, what would it look like if they were both here?
For me, I think I totally agree with Rick. Martial still has a future at Manchester United, even if Manchester United do go for Haaland. I will say I did actually throw a poll out myself on my channel on when was that Friday, and I asked this same question. I said, if you could guarantee Haaland coming to Manchester United, would you more or less sell Martial? And I just had a quick look before we went on. Then 87% said they would, which is wow. There was quite a few votes.
Is that unfair? Is there a bit of a new, the new toy syndrome? And feel free, people, to jump in once Kev's answered. This is open forum. Are we getting a little bit like, well, all right, we're
Can I say something? What you just brought up there, Flex, reminds me of Alex Telles. It's only about 2 months ago that every man and his dog was saying Alex Telles is our new left back.
Yeah, but that was before Luke Shaw started having good form.
When you say this is my team, Telles is in everybody's team 2 months ago. Everybody's.
He'd still be my team if Luke Shaw was the Luke Shaw of a few seasons ago. But Luke Shaw's just had a massive transformation, hasn't he?
It was Beth was one of them. Beth wanted Luke Shaw out.
I didn't want Luke Shaw out. I just wanted to tell him in.
Kev, yeah, carry on.
I was just going to go and grab my popcorn then, but you
bring the bell, KG style. Yeah.
But with Haaland as a signing, I've spoke before on this, right? This is a player that Manchester United cannot afford to miss out on if they can sign him. I'm fully aware that some people think we need a defender, a defensive midfielder, a right winger. You just blow everything out the water to get Haaland if you can get him. And what it reminds me of is when Manchester United signed Wayne Rooney. Now, Newcastle were looking to replace Shearer. They went in for Rooney at Everton. United, it was known, didn't want him until the year after. They were prepared to wait for a season. Newcastle put the bid in. Everton accepted it, which then prompted United, and they had to come out then and make sure they got Wayne Rooney. The rest is history when it comes to Rooney. Absolute legend at Manchester United. We could do with a player like that in our ranks now. Somebody who wears his heart on his sleeve, went out every game, 110%. Haaland is an absolute freak of nature. His goal-scoring record is unbelievable. He's just, players like this do not come around often. And we've heard a lot about them saying the changing of the guard, Messi and Ronaldo. Now it's Mbappe and Haaland are the two. These are going to be up there in 10, 15 years' time. But for Manchester United to sign a player like Haaland, to me, shows complete ambition by Manchester United. Do we trust them to get it over the line? Well, that's another question. And I would also think that the fact that Martial's been mentioned in this is probably typical United. They're looking at Martial and thinking, well, there's a player that we can get really good money for. His stock's still high. We can use that money towards Haaland, which to me suggests the money isn't really there to buy him without freeing up by selling players at United.
Sliffwave says, I wish King Rick was my granddad. Why are you saying granddad, Rick? Well, it could be dad. You're young, Yeah.
Maybe that lad's only 10.
Yeah, exactly. And Ronald says that Martial is a good player, but when he is only good for hold-up play, his best season was 24 goals, which even Ings has scored that. Our number 9's best season is an average season for any other striker. A little bit of criticism for Martial there, Rick. Do you see the criticism that Martial gets in terms of his goal scoring or lack of his clinicalness and stuff like that? Do you see the reason why the calls are to kind of get a more clinical striker?
I can see why people think that, but I also see people saying things like that last comment of, an average striker scores 24 goals. I don't think so. Do you know what I mean? What does an average striker get in the Premier League in a season? It's probably more like 12 or 14, I would have thought. So he's not scoring a lot of goals this season, Martial. His goal scoring was perfectly fine last season. But as I've always said, and I know loads of people say it's not about hold-up play, it's about goals. But so long as the team's scoring enough goals, and we're not doing too badly as goals. I always say this, if the team scores enough goals, it doesn't matter who scores them. Of course, you want your team to score goals. Lots of people say to me, yeah, but you want your number 9. If you could say to me next season, we're going to score 100 goals and our number 9's only going to get 5 of them, I'll say that'll do.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't be like, sell the number 9 because he only scored 5 goals, but the rest scored 95. Beth, when Kev's saying about the generational talent thing in terms of, okay, we need a centre half, we need a CDM, we need a right winger. You could argue that we need competition for Rashford on the left wing as well, so he doesn't get burnt out. Whatever you want to say. Do you agree with, if Haaland's available though, like it's looking like he is this summer, you scrap your plans if you can get him and kind of worry about it afterwards? Basically, you go all out for it, like the Rooney situation.
1,000,000%. I just think it's too good to miss out on. And if any other Premier League team get him, because I'm sure City and Chelsea are both in for him, that'll just knock us right down. Because Haaland, when you put him into any team, he's got that European elite mentality. He's got that mentality. You can see it in him. He's just hungry to score goals week in, week out. He wants to break records. He's started to do it in the Champions League already. I mean, and he's only young as well. Plus, like I said last week, you're going to make money back on him. You're just going to. He's got Mourinho as an agent, which is kind of a negative as well. But he's going to want to move on in so many years. He can do a massive, massive job for us and get us back to the top. That's how good I actually think he is. I just think you put him in that team, he doesn't miss the chances that our strikers miss. And I just think his attitude, everything about him, you just can't pass it up. And I also think with United, they're going to have to spend, if they buy him, they're going to have to spend more money anyway in January, because everyone's going to be calling out for a CDM centre-back. So we are actually going to get them signings anyway. I generally do believe that, because we all know that we need them. So we're not going to not buy them if we are struggling in them positions. But if Haaland comes up, it's like passing up on Ronaldo and Messi. It literally is, like Kev said, that's the type of player that he is going to be. And I just think you can't let another team buy him. It's the same with what we did with Sanchez. Remember when we bought him just so City wouldn't buy him? Obviously, he was a flop. But
is that actually not? Well, I know I'm not suggesting that Haaland is going to be a flop like Sanchez was. I'm not saying that for 1 second, but with what happened there, we did do that in that instance. The last time we tried to buy someone just to stop someone else buying them, look what happened though.
Yeah, but look at the difference.
I'm just saying, at the time Sanchez was doing all right at Arsenal, we were like, yo.
Yeah, but Haaland's just different. He's different. And we've not had a number 9 that scores that many goals in so long. I mean, Martial, I think he does a job for us. I definitely do. But he can then move to be Rashford's competition on the left. Did you know, like you said, how Rashford will need some competition. And as Ricky said, Haaland's not going to play every game if we are in the Champions League and we're going to aim to get far into the Champions League. So if you bring him in, I just think as well at Greenwood, he can look up to him and learn from him. It doesn't push Greenwood out either, because he's still going to get opportunity. I just think next season, going into the season with, because I think Cavani's probably going to leave, isn't he, and go back to Argentina, not Argentina. Is he Argentina?
He's Uruguayan, but he's going to go to Boca Juniors, I think.
Yeah, going to go to Boca Juniors. I don't trust our only strikers being Greenwood and Martial, because I think Greenwood still needs another season. I just don't trust them to go and score as many goals as we need to do. So I just think you've got to buy him.
Ayush says, if we want to be considered one of the best in the world, we should get Haaland. All the top teams like Bayern have a top striker. And Chris Pankhurst says, Martial should stay. Buy Sancho and Rice. Play with 2 proper wingers, Rashford and Martial up front with Bruno in the hole. Reminds me of York and Cole. Rick with a big smile there. That's what Rick was basically saying. Like, he can play up front. That he can do a 4-4-2. And I do like. Look, I have said before, if you can get me a player who's 100% better than Martial, I would make the change if you could guarantee me that. But how hard is that? I do like the notion of saying, yeah, get Haaland, you got Martial, then you start creating that what City got. If one person's out the starting lineup, the next person to come in is not a bad replacement, let's say, to put it nicely. You know, if Haaland has to miss a game and Martial has to play up front, are we that much weaker? If Rashford has to come out and start games on the bench for Martial or vice versa. I remember that season under Jose in his last season, I think, before Sanchez come, he had Martial and Rashford alternating game by game. And I remember saying, wow, you know what? Keep it like this, because it's like they're spurring each other on. I remember being in that little 3-month period where they just kept scoring or assisting or coming off the bench and doing the bits or whatever it was. Jose had them quite well for a change. So I think it would be great to get both, but I just don't know if we're being a bit spoilt, Kev. You think we could get both? Or, well, get Haaland and hold on to Martial at the same time?
No, and that's why I did say earlier, I think that's the way Manchester United will be looking at it, is the fact of money. They'll be looking to free it up to bring Haaland in. And I want Martial to stay. I don't see why he couldn't play on the left with, Haaland up top on his own. What I will say on Haaland is, I think we've all kind of agreed that we can't miss out on him. And I know we have the dig about Alexis Sanchez, and he was in form at that time when we signed him. Look at the age gap straight away. We're talking about this player could be at United for 10 plus years. The worry for me is, and this is where you have to do it, is if Manchester City signed Haaland, they will dominate football for the next five years. In fact, you wouldn't have even thought there was another level for Manchester City to go on to, but it will be winning the Champions League. He will secure them the Champions League if he signs for them. And that's why I think it's absolutely vital that United are involved in this and pull out all the stops, do whatever they can. I know there's a lot of people in the comment section laughing, saying there's no chance he'll come to Manchester United and that, It's,
I think that's what we all think a little bit, though, really. It's just nice.
Well, you know what? Let's do some percentages then before we kind of move on from the Haaland thing and go on to the next topic of the day. Kev, what's the percentage of us getting Erling Haaland?
I need to know exactly the pull of Solskjaer, right? I know he's managed.
But it didn't work the first time.
Solskjaer acts when he's doing the press conference.
Yeah, exactly.
It really depends on that, doesn't it? Is Haaland sat there thinking, I played for Solskjaer, I'd like to go back there? And then you read about like people going, well, look what Roy Keane did to his dad.
Yeah,
He'll never go back to Manchester United. And it's stuff like that. But listen, in my head, I would say it's totally 50-50.
Yeah.
Okay.
50-50, I'd have to say.
Half and half there. Matt says, I think Martial's confidence has been rocked. He was Ollie's go-to last season. I'd be gutted if he left. He holds up the ball well and would complement Erling Haaland. Rick, what percentage have we got? Someone said 10% there. Guy Valentina says 10%.
Exactly what I was going to say. 10%, I say. 10%.
Was you going to say 10%?
Yeah, the amount of money they're going to want for him, I can't see the amount.
10%. So we've gone from 50-50 to 10%. Beth, what are you saying?
I don't even know if he's going to leave this summer, to be honest. I actually
going anywhere.
I don't even know if he's going to leave this summer, but I'm just going to go with 60%, try and keep it positive, just because I want him to come so much. But realistically, I'd probably say it's more like 30, to be honest, because I just don't think we have the capacity to do the deal when you've got other boards that are just so much more effective than ours, and other clubs that just seem to want to spend more money.
Well, was it the release clause for next season is written in stone for 75 million?
Yeah.
So if we worked off that and said it was 75 million, we're all going to sit here and go, well, we paid 80 million for Harry Maguire. Do you know what I mean? And we're talking about one of the biggest stars in world football at the minute, hottest properties for 75 million.
Well, that's why this is coming into play this year, because Dortmund know that because his release clause kicks in next year, because he's kicked on so well in such a short space of time, he's £100 million player now. So
if they waited for next year,
if they wait for next year, someone's just going to come in and only pay the 75 million.
And would Haaland just have to make the decision which one he'd want to go?
That's right. It's the release clause. It's like us. It's like me getting on the phone and saying, "Right, Dortmund, I've paid Haaland's release clause. You can't block the move. I'm allowed to talk to him. If he says yes and we agree a contract and the wages and stuff, we don't even need to consult you. That's what the release. That's how Arsenal got Thomas Partey. Release clause paid. Doesn't matter. It takes out the notion. But they know. That's why they're saying, well, I'll tell you what. They were probably looking at it like, we probably should have put a higher release clause on it. We didn't think it'd actually be, we didn't think it'd go on to do this much. And, now they're thinking, well, cash in this summer because we're going to get 100+ million versus the 70 odd before. Shaquille says, Matt Judge doing the negotiations. Let's not hold out any hope for Haaland now. Not thinking. What are you going to say, Kev?
Sorry, I was just going to say, we have to look at it again. We all know the agent. We know what he's about. And I was going to say, it might not even be Haaland's choice. Raiola might say to him, well, yes, you leave Dortmund now, because if he goes to Real Madrid, Barcelona, somebody like that, you don't go there for 2 years. You're going to be there for a long time. So if Raiola, will it be another stepping stone club?
But a lot of people seem to think that Haaland is going to be this type of player anyway, because he's so generational, because he's so good, because he's got Mino Raiola. People are making the assumption that, like you said, if he came to Man United, he'll be here for 2 years, maybe 3. Then he'll go to another big club like a Real Madrid or whatever. Then he might move on to a Bayern or what. They seem to think he's gonna kind of move about a bit. What do you guys say to that?
It's a tricky one, mate, isn't it? I'm not sure. It's anybody's guess, isn't it? If Raiola wants him to, if Raiola wants him to, obviously, if the more he moves, the more money Raiola gets out of it, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Which is why it's a fair assumption to probably make with Raiola. Okay, well, moving on. Smash a like on the video if you guys are just joining us. We're talking about Haaland in, Martial out, and what it would look like to go and get Haaland. And subscribe if you guys are new. I want to move on to get you guys' thoughts. I haven't had a chance to speak properly in depth with this. About Solskjaer's contract extension that seems to be all ready to go. We're kind of just waiting for the end of the season to announce it. But they've already made their mind up that he is going to get the extension. Beth, I'll start with you. Is that right or wrong?
Doing it at this point in the season, I think he's wrong. But if he gets second place and we get a trophy, then I think it's completely right that he deserves a new contract. I really do, because the team that he's got compared to Manchester City, it's unachievable to get the league. It just is. And at the start of the season, with the frailties that we have in certain positions, like we don't even have like a proper right winger. We don't have. We're not able to switch positions. For example, Wan-Bissaka's playing three games a week. That just doesn't happen at the top level. I think he deserves a new contract for what he's done. So get second, get the Champions League again. If we can get a trophy, then yeah, he deserves it. Plus, he's improved the academy a lot. He's got rid of Deadwood. He's handled transfers pretty well. But I don't think you should be announcing it this early, because what if something goes wrong? We lose, God knows, we lose the next how many games we've got left and we're out of the Champions League. You just never know. And then you're like, why did we give him that contract that early? But at the same time, I've seen people acting as if when you get a new contract, it still means you can't be sacked. I mean, you can still get sacked if next season he's not performing. So it doesn't, to be honest, it doesn't really affect us. It just affects the owners, because they're going to have to pay him out if they do sack him. That's the only thing it affects. So I don't think we should be getting too frustrated with it. But I do think he's done a good job. The only thing the reason why I'd like him to get a new contract as well is because I do think he needs more backing in the summer. Maybe with this new kind of structure that we've introduced, he might get a bit of backing, because they're going to kind of want to make a statement in the summer, aren't they, that this structure is going to work. And then hopefully you can see the way he wants to play even further, and we can see a little bit more development in certain weaknesses that we have. But overall, I don't think second's bad at all this year for the team that we have. And I do think he deserves a new contract.
Sean Thomas says, story seems too good to be true, but he should definitely be our number one target. His quality, like Bruno's, will be infectious on the whole team, and the whole team will improve. That's on back to Haaland. And Shiraz says, Lacazette is better than Martial and Rashford. Don't know about that. They're still on a high from the North London derby, bless them, down there in 10th or wherever they are now. Rush says Haaland coming to us is is about the same odds as Ronaldo going to Burnley. So is that, I'm guessing that's a 0% then? Kev, is it the right thing to be discussing Solskjaer's future and kind of, that coming out that he's, going to get the contract extension?
I just think it's typical of how this club is run at the minute. I really do. The news in the midweek with this director of football, nobody's been appointed. I've said it before. People have just been given new name badges, moved around. That's your title. You go and do this. You go and do that. Listen, I am not Ollie out. Anyone that watches this will know I'm not. But like Beth just said, you wait until the end of the season, right? This is a big week for Manchester United. And the fact this news has been leaked, what is it, 9 million over 3 years, new contract, right? If we go out of the...
No, I think it's 9 million a year.
Was it 9 million?
I think I'm pretty sure it could have been 9 million a year. I don't know. I might have that wrong, but I thought it was that. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yes, it's a big week for United. Worst case scenario, top 4 is not secured. So what are you actually basing that on? Surely you get rewarded for actually performing and doing something. Best case scenario, we finish second, maybe win a trophy. For me, that would be progression. You would look and say, fair enough. But didn't we do this at the start with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? We all got a bit giddy. We beat PSG. They offered him that contract after saying that they wouldn't. We will wait till the end of the season. We'll identify the correct candidate. They give him that contract. And the way that Manchester United finished that season, if they'd have just held back, I still believe they would not have offered Solskjaer the job. So... for me, again, you wait until the end of the season, see where you're at, have United progress, and then you make your decision then.
Rick, I know we touched on it in your fan cam just very, very briefly, and you were sort of talking about the fact that, in your words, you quote, I just want to see us play better football, Flex. But you were talking about, being second and stuff and, behind a team that is as good as City's. Well done at the same time. Just before I come to you, Luke 82 says, personally, I don't care how good they are. I don't want to spend all our transfer kitty on a mercenary. Go and get an elite CDM and a centre and a CD. This must be a centre back for that price instead of going to get Haaland. And Shiraz says, spent 200 million on your squad only to fight for top 4, and you're giving Oli a new contract after bottling 4 semi-finals. LOL, have some shame. It's definitely an Arsenal fan. Your captain don't even turn up for games, mate. Yeah. That's just stick to mid-table while we work out about Champions League, how we're going to try and win the league. The last time you guys won the league, Sega was still a thing. Yeah, so just stop. Arsenal fans, honestly. Rick, I forgot what I was asking you. Oh yeah, the Oli thing. Yeah.
I think personally, I think the progress is too slow for me. You know what I mean? I think, finishing second, but where we are in the table, you couldn't really expect that. In fact, I don't know if we said this the other day, we didn't expect Liverpool to slip this far. So if you'd have said to me at the start of the season, you'll finish third, I would have said fine. You know what I mean? Now it's looking like we might be able to finish second. So certainly results-wise, and obviously we're still in a couple of cups, I believe we'll get through in at least one of them 2 games this weekend. I really do. We're still in 2 cups at the minute. We look like we've got a great chance of finishing second. So results-wise, position-wise, and everything like that, I think it's good on that basis. I'd say it's good enough. But to me, we're not playing good enough football, and I just can't see any progress in the style of play. I don't think we pass it around well enough. I don't think we pass. There ain't enough slick passing movements like City play and like Liverpool play at the best. And I just think we rely too much on individual moments of brilliance. Rashford comes up with occasionally, like Bruno comes up with occasionally. Not so much this season, but even Martial occasionally. Individual moments of brilliance rather than great team play. And that's what I want to see us developing more.
Rick, should it when you was like... you want to see us play better football and stuff, but, all right, well done if we get a trophy and stuff. Should it all be about, like, the trophy aspect if he can get it this season. Because what I'm saying is, has he improved the squad in general? Like, if he doesn't win anything but comes second, have we improved? I know we have in terms of going from third to second, but has he done enough regardless of getting the trophy?
What if he wins a trophy? Has he done enough?
No, if he doesn't, but we finish second. Like, what I'm saying is it all about getting this trophy, or are we saying actually from where he took the squad from Mourinho to now, are we better?
I don't think it should be based on if he wins a trophy or not. It's a bonus if he does get a trophy, but I'd like to see us playing better, doing a little bit better in the league points wise. I just it's all to me about how we play and how we set up, and I don't think we play well enough. I really don't. And another thing that's been touched on, Beth mentioned the deadwood that he's got rid of. A lot of that deadwood are playing really well for other clubs, and I don't think a lot of people talk about the deadwood and then the money that he spent. I think we've replaced lots of players with similar standard of players. I really do. I think a lot of it's sideways movement, if you like.
Small in return, pending.
Yeah. Well, on that, let's talk about that.
A lot of them players are playing for clubs of a similar ilk, aren't they? Clubs that are doing well. I mean, 4 of them are playing for Inter Milan, who are probably going to win. Well, they're 9 points clear in Serie A at the minute. Serie A might not be the Premier League, but I'll tell you what, they'd still be in the top 3, wouldn't they, if they were in the Premier League or something? You know what I mean?
So you're saying we're getting a similar caliber of players?
We've got similar caliber of players.
Apart from Bruno.
Well, even Bruno's not as good as Lukaku. He's not, is he? Would you swap Bruno tomorrow? You're talking about Haaland. Is he scoring a similar amount of goals to Lukaku or more? Can't be getting more, can he?
I think he is.
How many has he got?
I think in the Champions League, definitely.
But think about Lukaku's stats with us compared to what Bruno's done. The impact that Lukaku had compared to Bruno's impact. It's worlds apart. I just don't think Lukaku suited to the Premier League. I really do not.
Didn't we finish second when Lukaku was playing for us?
You see, but this is where it's interesting. But this is where it's interesting because this is a talking point, right?
And we got 80 odd points, didn't we?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So this is where it gets really interesting. I like this, and feel free to come in here, Kev, as well. This is where it gets interesting because people who are, I'm not saying Rick is, I'm just bringing the argument to the table. People who are staunch Ole out, this is their argument, right? How can you tell me this is any better than Jose Mourinho when we finished second, a country mile behind City, and we had the likes of Lukaku and stuff. He was, still getting near enough 20 a season. The football we play under Ole is crap. How have we improved? What are we saying on that?
Yeah, but people are acting as if Mourinho was sacked when he finished second. No, he was sacked the season after when we were struggling in, was it 6th? Something like that. We were playing awful the season after. That's when he was sacked. I mean, at the moment when Ole's in second and we are winning games, granted, I know we don't play good football. I complain about it a lot. I don't think it's developing. But I always ask this question in my head. Is it the coaching or have we just not got players that can pass the ball very well? Because honestly, I don't think I've ever seen Fred or McTominay pass the ball well. I don't think I've ever seen Rashford as a tick-attacker type of player. I just don't think we have a lot of the players that suit that style of play. Granted, I think with coaching, you can improve players of that quality 1,000,000%. But I do think it's a mix of both. And I also think Solskjaer's not got every piece to his puzzle yet. Mourinho spent a lot of money. Granted, Ole did spend 80 million on Maguire and 50 million on Wan-Bissaka. But I didn't like a lot of the signings that he brought in. I thought Lukaku's touch was awful. I thought it was a donkey up front. Yeah, he's doing well now, but I don't think he suited our team whatsoever. I think there was the dressing room problems as well. And Ole wanted to start building his own team from the ground up, and he didn't think Lukaku suited his team. And I think we need to wait for Ole to get all the pieces into his team, what he thinks he can do, and then we can judge it based off that because he's not had everything that other managers have got yet. And I just think overall, I do think we play better football under Ole, even though it's not great, yeah. And I just think the mood's better, the atmosphere's better. The players didn't like playing under Mourinho. It was awful football. And look at him at Spurs now. Look at that forward players, and they're doing awfully.
Kev, I'm going to come to you. One sec, Kev's going to get these super chats out. Ibrahim says, name me a player that improved technically. Klopp improved Trent offensively. Shaw was always good. Rashford, Pogba, McFred, more like McShite, that's a bit over the top. Sean C says, Ollie new contract equals sell to buy plus minimal cash. New manager, big contract for a new manager and war chest. This is why the board want Ollie. And the next super chat is here from Saruba. Saruba says, CDM, Rice and Garner, back-to-back McSauce and Donny van de Beek, attacking midfield, Bruno and Shola, assuming Pogba goes, is a great midfield. But we don't know Shola yet. He hasn't even had a first-team appearance. Well, he has had a first-team appearance, but he come off the bench quickly. You can't... This always happens with the youngsters. Young Hannibal's signed a new contract today. Oh, yeah, this is what we need because he's going to be amazing. Well, we don't know yet. He's smashing it and playing ahead of his age group. Just good, keep him at the club and let him just do his thing. Let's just wait. We always seem to do this a lot with young players. With a great midfield with Sancho and the centre-back, it's a great team. Kev, over to you, man.
Sorry, it was just going to be a very quick point. I think a lot of us as United fans can say that our style of play, it's not great, is it? Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, managers, what I was going to say is we're all kind of saying that to win a trophy this season will be counted as progression, right? Louis van Gaal won the FA Cup and was sacked, about an hour after winning it?
Yeah.
It wasn't because, we won the FA Cup. It was purely to do with the style of football that Manchester United were playing at that moment in time. United made the decision.
Okay. Was it not more to do with the fact that we didn't qualify for the Champions League that season rather than the style of football?
I think both.
I think it was both.
I don't know about that. If we'd have finished
we won
the FA Cup. If we would have finished fourth and won the FA Cup, I don't think he would have got sacked.
Yeah, but that would have been... But you know what, though, Rick? That sometimes comes... I don't think we're ruthless like other clubs. That's why I think we let a lot slide. So do you know what? You're probably right in terms of if we would have got fourth and an FA Cup, they probably would have... let's not really sack him then because we got into the Champions League. We got our money, as the Glazers want, and we got a trophy. But I think the football we played under Van Gaal, I know you probably liked it, Rick, but it was dire. It was horrible.
Having said what I've just said, I've just thought of something.
You said we want us to play better football.
We were obviously in negotiations with Mourinho well before that date. So
they wanted him.
Negotiations with him before they knew if he was going to finish fourth or not.
There you go. Yeah, because it wasn't like the FA Cup happened and they quickly just throw Mourinho and said, there's a job going.
That was the last game of the calendar season, isn't it?
Exactly.
So literally, I remember getting on the coach after that match at Wembley and everybody was like, BBC.
Do you actually remember it though, Kev? Do you actually remember it?
The next day, yeah.
You read the news the next day? Yeah, you didn't remember that. But it is. I look at it and I'll be honest. I know some people got real strong opinions on this, either one way or the other. But I'm still in that limbo of like, how much better are we though? How much better are we? Because like Rick says, when I look at us, we don't look like a team that's miles better. But you look at the results and where we are in the league, it's a good season being second. But I'm trying to compare it to the football that we play. Just forget where we are in the league. Just use your eye test. They say the eye test. Just look at how the team plays or how it plays consistently. And the only way we play consistently is inconsistently. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the only consistency we have. The fact that I know that the game's going to kick off and I don't know what the hell to predict. I don't know whether we're going to try and sit in there. We might nick it. I don't know if we might open them up on the counter. I don't know whether we're going to struggle like most games. I don't know if we're going to hit someone for 6 like we've done a couple of times this season against Southampton and Leeds. I just don't know. And I see like limitations with the way we play. I see us like certain games. It's almost like Ollie says, yeah, that's perfect for us. We'll have that like the City games, like the Chelsea game, when the onus isn't on us. And then like Rick's saying, and you guys are saying, when we play against teams that want to ask us questions or want us to ask the questions by probing, we struggle. And how much better is that? I don't know. I'm still stuck in that. But I do believe he shouldn't be sacked now. He shouldn't be sacked now. And I don't think he's anywhere close to being sacked. I think if Ole doesn't, if a catastrophe happens and he doesn't finish in the top 4, right, and he doesn't win a trophy, I bet you the board still wouldn't sack him. Because I think what happens is, do you know why I don't think they would? I'll tell you why I don't think they would, right? They should, don't get me wrong if that happens, but this is why I don't think they would. Look at what they're building with Solskjaer there. Darren Fletcher's been in a job a month, let's say, as a coach, promotion, technical director, or whatever he is. John Marto, promoted, been at the club. Ole would have been, I think, involved in these decisions of wanting, bringing in McKenna, bringing in Nicky Butt, bringing in Michael Carrick. Don't think that is not Solskjaer saying, I want my mates here. And for United to make big decisions of structural change, even though we're saying the wool's not really pulled over our eyes over how much change that is, but to make that change within the family, I feel that they're saying, well, we know we're going to have Solskjaer almost regardless, and we're going to kind of build that whole family. So I don't think there's going to be change no matter what happens.
I generally think that if we didn't win a trophy but we came 4th, I don't think he'd be sacked. But I think if we didn't get Champions League, I do think he'd be sacked. I think what the board are bothered about is the Champions League money, because they want the Champions League money. And as Ricky said, Louis van Gaal probably was sacked because they didn't get the Champions League money that they wanted to get. And I don't even think if it was Solskjaer, I still think if it was Solskjaer, and I do think he's been given a lot more benefits because he is an ex-United, some say hero, some say legend. It depends what you want to say. I do think he gets kind of more leeway because of that. But at the same time, I don't think they'd settle for not getting that Champions League money, because we all know it's money for them. That's what they're bothered about. And you kind of saw, was it around the Everton game at the start of the season? The pressure was really, really mounting on Solskjaer, and there was people saying that Pochettino was kind of in for the job. So that got put out by United themselves, if I'm correct. I don't even know. So they were kind of maybe, we don't know, debating it then because we were doing poorly at the start of the league. So I do think if we didn't get Champions League, they would sack him. But I think we've got Champions League now. I really do.
Nath Doc says, simple question, 2021 Ole or 2021 Mourinho? Anyone that says Mourinho, go support Spurs. People forget. Ole's proven that he's doing way better than Mourinho. Well, obviously this season. Another super chat from Steven says, time to move a keeper. Wasted budget on 2. Time to overhaul the midfield and up front with some skill and tenacity. Out with Martial, James, Lindelof, De Gea, Lingard, Mata, Pereira, Rojo. In with Haaland, CDM, centre back, and so on. Basically, ruthless from Steven there. Kev, with what Beth was saying there, and then we'll come to you as well, Ricky, about the structure of us, and would Solskjaer get sacked if it went really bad? Would that even happen this season?
For me, a lot of it I think a lot of it comes down to the point gap and the fact it's Manchester City. Because, like Rick rightly says, anybody before this season started, before a ball was kicked, if he'd have said, you're going to finish above Liverpool, you'd have gone, right, well, nice one, because we're going to be right up there, possibly first place, second place. It's not happened like that. So I would throw out there, if we, let's say roughly, we're about 4 or 5 points off City now, we'd be going into a massive end to the season. We could say we were still involved in a title race, Europa League, FA Cup, and it looks totally different. The fact that gap there now, we've progressed past Liverpool. Yes, they've had their injury problems, but the fact that now Manchester City has sat there and they have been on another level, I think a lot of fans look at that, want to get to that. It's not going to happen overnight. We all know that. We need investment in the squad. We need Solskjaer to take it forward, obviously, as well. So I would say a lot of it is down to that gap and the fact that Manchester United fell away, because we all know that over Christmas time, we were in the mix and we looked at a hell of a lot of fixtures that we've only got ourselves to blame. Manchester United, more or less, exited the title race within, what was it, about a month? Silly results. No one to blame apart from ourselves. It's unbelievable to think that this away form has been so impressive, the fact that they're unbeaten in 20-odd games, but then at Old Trafford, and the matches you look back and you think, what if? But that's football, isn't it?
Yeah. Chris Pankhurst says the midfield needs to be changed. Fred played well with Pogba against Everton, with Van der Beek as well. Then the team would progress. Remove the rest of the deadwood. Rick, I haven't actually asked you that, actually. You know, the director of football change and the little change in structure there. One, do you think that's a signal that Solskjaer is here for the long run? And two, do you see them as big appointments and big change coming, or was you in the camp of, you know, you're not really getting the wool pulled over your eye with that one?
Yeah, I think it's a sign that Solskjaer's not going anywhere. I can't, like Beth said, I can't see us. Surely we're going to finish in the top 4 now.
I don't know, mate. It's only 6 points from Chelsea. I think I don't get this whole top 4 stuff.
Chelsea are 4th though, Flex. We're 9 points in front of West Ham. They're in 5th. Yeah,
true. So if they win their game in hand, it's 6 points. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah. The top 4 at the minute, obviously City. Yeah. So then there's 3 spots, and it's always Leicester and Chelsea.
Yeah. Do you know what? It was more because I'm thinking West Ham got the game in hand. So I'm like, if they win that, they're 6 points behind. So it's the same as Chelsea, you know?
No disrespect, man, but that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if West Ham can keep a run going to overtake 9 points from us. Even, I don't know who the name game in hands against, but even when it's game in hands, not easy in the Premier League, is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe I'm just more nervous because it's just us. You know,
I can't see us not being in the top 4. Let's put it this way: we're in such a situation that if it did happen, it would be an absolute disaster that would deserve the manager to get.
If anyone can, Man United can, Rick.
Yeah.
I mean, we left it to the last game of the season last season, didn't we? So
but last season we were on catch up.
Yeah, we were catching up, weren't we?
This season we're in front, aren't we? It's different.
Yeah, but what do you, with the structural change, are you bothered about it, Rick? Have you been one of these fans? I know you speak more about the players and, you know, your Dan Jameses and your Matic just play the better players, and you don't really ever talk much about the structure, the Glazers, what's going on behind the scenes. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like, have you ever been asking for transfers to be done differently?
When people have been banging on for ages for us to get a director of football, I was only keen on the idea if it was somebody we were going to bring in. Just promoting somebody from within doesn't float me boat, if you like. One little bit.
Yeah.
It tickled me a little bit. Look, I don't know how these, they're a massive club, aren't they, United, and how these massive companies even, or massive clubs are run. I don't know. I'm not on the inside, am I? But it tickled me that in his press conference, when asked about, what's he called? Murto, is he called?
Yeah. What's he called?
He said, I speak to him every day anyway.
So you're like, what difference is there?
So if he's going to start picking his brains or saying, I want this player or I want that player, can't you say that to him anyway before he got promoted?
Yeah, they're all in the WhatsApp group saying, what do you think of him? What do you think of him? I've been saying it already. Beth, what was you like with that? I don't think I got a chance to speak to you about it, actually. What did you think when all that was announced?
Basically the same at first, because I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, yes, we've got a director of football. Came back on Twitter an hour later and I've just seen all this. He's already worked there for God knows how many years. And I was like, sounds like United. Why was I even happy about that? But I'm happy that Wood was not involved with the dealing with it. But it's literally the same people. Matt Judge was doing the transfers last year, and there's reports coming out that he didn't even answer his phone past 8 o'clock at night or something like that. So I still think that nothing's going to change. I think this summer, and maybe it's just because I'm optimistic. I mean, I like to say I'm a positive person. I think transfers should be better because they're going to want to make a statement that it's running well, seeing as a lot of people criticised it when it came out. But at the same time, I don't think, even though I like Darren Fletcher and I'm glad he's at the club, it's a technical director. I don't understand what experience he's had for a top level club. And then
he hasn't had any.
Exactly. And then Murto, whatever he's called, he's been in the club for a while. So again, it's just a PR thing, isn't it? So I'm not mad about it. I'm glad it's happened, but I'm not over the moon about it. I don't really think anything much will change overall, to be honest.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if there's any tangible change. I mean, I know you've had your say on it, Kev. I know what your feelings are, but just to kind of go back to it, now you've had a chance to take it in, do you think there could be any tangible change? Are you willing to maybe, now the dust has settled, to say, well, you know what, it has happened, prove us wrong then, show us in the summer that something's there? Because but then I was talking about someone else, even if it was on Instagram, even if something does happen in the summer, to see how well or badly this has gone, you need to wait for a good couple of transfer windows to see if there's any real change, because we could just have one good, summer this time, which we're still not even confident on that, and then go back to being the same. So what do you think?
I think, well, I said at the start of the show, I used the word ambition when we mentioned Haaland. So if United want to do that, this is what they're going to have to do. We have always said about Woodward, and a lot of United fans will say that he is not a football man. We know that. I think even deep down, he knew himself. Some of the shenanigans that he got up to. Like I've said, leave him to do them deals commercially. Nobody's bothered about that. He wants to keep the Glazers happy and that. Sound. He's a businessman. He's not a football man. So who's Murto then? Is he a football man? They promoted him. For me, it has to be somebody within football and who probably has a connection to United. And that's why I always bang the drum and said that somebody like Van der Sar would have been, perfect for that job. A lot of people say, why would he want to leave Ajax? But I still think to be the first director of football at United, but typical of United, the way they said, it's our first director of football, find out who it is, Well,
on John Murto, just a quick bio here. Murto joined United in 2013, having worked with David Moyes at Everton, and became the club's head of football development in 2016. Prior to that, he was head of elite performance at the Premier League, following senior academy and player development roles at other clubs. And he oversaw the recruitment of the women's team in 2018. He's Liverpudlian, and he's involved in United's overhaul of the academy and recruitment department, and even
he's a scouser.
He got so it was Wayne Rooney, mate. So it was Wayne Rooney, and Hannibal. He got Hannibal Mesbury to the club as well when he watched him with Christensen in Norway. So.
You can't judge until he's actually had time to do it. You can't judge, can you? I mean, if he gets Haaland in the summer, then it's the best thing that we've ever done, isn't it, really? But I don't know if that's going to happen.
Can I ask this, though? What's his actual role in that? Like you've just said, if we get Haaland in the summer, every man and his dog wants Haaland. You know what I mean?
It's not hard, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think it's not going to be his job, is it, to go and do the negotiations? So don't.
Well, actually, let me read this bit here, which is basically saying, what does the new role mean? Murto has been promoted to the role of football director with Darren Fletcher, being made technical director, 2 new roles. The football director will have overall leadership and responsibility for operations and strategy across all football functions. And Murto will work closely with Solskjaer and the rest of the football staff to create the structures, processes and culture to deliver sustained success on the pitch. He will work day to day with Solskjaer to align recruitment and other strategies to ensure that the first team has the best-in-class operational support it needs to succeed. So basically, like you said, Rick, you're at home, before you go bed or whatever, you might just be on Twitter or on social media looking at what play, share Ollie the screen clip of a great goal. You seen this, Ollie? He'll be all right for us, wouldn't he? Ollie, yeah, LOL, defo, what do you reckon? Emoji. Do you know what I mean? Something like that.
We'll watch him a couple of times and see what we think, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know, man. The last sort of 5 minutes of the show, guys, with you, Rick, and then we'll come to the others and close out. What a week this is. This is massive. The game is in the balance against AC Milan, proper in the balance. We've got to go there and score. And then we go to face a difficult trip to Leicester in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. What say you this week?
I fancy us to win in Milan. I really do. I fancy us to win. Just 1-0, all it takes, or even maybe 2-1. But I think it's going to be a tight game. But I fancy us to win there. I really do.
Yeah. And Leicester, do you think we're going there to win, or do you think one will go?
What he'll do with his lineup after that, I'm not sure. Thursday night game and a Sunday game, but obviously then it's the international break. He might go. He could possibly go with the same team. I think. Don't laugh. I think Dan James will play on Thursday night. I don't. Even if a few weeks ago it was Martial, Cavani, Greenwood, and Rashford for 3 spaces, wasn't it? Dan James wasn't even in the reckoning. I will stick my neck out now and say if all 4 of those players are fit to play on Thursday night, Dan James will still play.
Do you know what though? I agree.
I think he will.
I agree. Do you know what, Rick? For the first time here on United Stand, everyone is agreeing.
It gives us more chance as well. I really do think it gives us more chance. Gives us a better. Beth are always laughing at me going on about team shape, but it gives us better team shape. I don't think it's a coincidence. Since he's back in the team for 7 games, we've only let 1 goal in. You know what I mean?
I mean, Dan James, it's all on Dan James. He's been getting back, making all the blocks, making all the tackles.
It's not all in, but every little bit helps. Every little bit helps.
He's Tesco.
Yeah, every little bit it really does. And the team shape's better. We defend him better. And, like I say, we're not letting a goal. We let a goal in against AC Milan. I had this with somebody today. We let a goal in against AC Milan after he got subbed. And somebody said, yeah, but it was a corner and a big header. He's not going to win that. I said, yeah, but they got the corner down that flank that he plays on. They might not have got that corner if he was still on. You know what I mean? Every little bit helps.
I tell you what, right? Do you know what's really funny? Nah, do you know what's really funny is obviously Rick is being serious. He's not joking. But like the stat kind of always backs up what he says, even if your eye test doesn't think it. Like I remember when Rick was saying, well, remember when you put that thing on Twitter, Rick, when you was like, well, Matic didn't play in these ones and we lost these ones, but we got a draw and wins in these ones. It's no coincidence. And it's like, but everyone will say Matic is rubbish and this and that. But when you look at the games that these guys play, we don't normally lose.
Somebody said to me, you could literally sell wool to a sheep. Because he makes me start believing it. It's Dan James. He makes me start believing it.
I'll tell you what, it was after Robbie Savage in commentary against who did we just draw with? Who we should have beat? Oh, was it Palace?
West Brom. Palace.
Sorry, it wasn't somebody we should have beat. It was against AC Milan. And Robbie Savage was saying how much we're missing Pogba. We could do with Pogba in place of either McTominay or Fred because he's a ball player and he can create things. So I had a quick look at the results the last time Pogba played. We drew 3-3 with Everton. We got beat 2-1 by Sheffield United and we drew 0-0 with Arsenal. We've taken 2 points from the last 3 games that he's played.
So, all right then, Rick. So, by this logic then, so Rick, fair enough. If this is how you look at it, which is fine.
Let me finish, because I know what you're going to ask me. I think there'll be loads of people saying, why is you saying that about Pogba? I'm not saying for one moment that it's all Pogba's fault, that. What I am saying, what people need to grasp, is this is back to the start of the show, this. Stop thinking that somebody who's capable of doing something a bit worldly style is going to make all that difference. Because it didn't happen against Everton, it didn't happen against Sheffield United, it didn't happen against Arsenal. That's the last 3 games he's played. So why would it necessarily have happened against AC Milan?
Well, because they're going off. It happened against Burnley when we needed to score. It happened against Fulham. It happened against West Ham from outside the box. There's equally games that you can counter that and say without them we wouldn't have got W's as well.
Without a doubt. But what's more important? Somebody can pull off worldly things, and Pogba can definitely do it. But surely it's more important that it doesn't happen all the time, and it hasn't happened in the last 3 games that he's played. So to say, simple as whoever you're talking about, by the way, simply to say if we had him tonight, it'd be better. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It just. But then
you'll say get James in because we'll be better.
Yeah, but I'm not expecting him to score a worldie.
If you want better players, though, it's always got a better chance.
Bringing people in and thinking, right, this lad's going to make the difference because he can score a goal or because he can make a goal, which he hasn't been doing in the last 3 games that he's played anyway. But it doesn't have to be him. It could be somebody else. Like we spoke about Haaland. Beth, I've had this with you lots of times. I say here about Yeah, like that was the one. Like if Bruno wasn't playing for us, we wouldn't be playing with 10 men. You know what I mean? We'd have somebody else playing.
I understand that, but it's like saying
we do have good players. We do have good players.
It's like saying replace all of our team with, I don't know, Sheffield United's team, but if they play good football, it's we've got more chance of winning. When you've got better players on the pitch, you have a better chance of playing good football. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, no one in the right mind is going to say when you've got Pogba. No offense, because I do think Dan James has been playing pretty well recently, but no one in the right mind is like, are you going to play Pogba or Dan James? You're going to pick Pogba because he's a better player. And plus, I've got another stat for you on the AC Milan game. I know you said when Dan James came off,
ding ding, get the KG bell.
But if he would have scored that goal that he should have scored, then we would have been 2-0 up, wouldn't we?
And Pogba would have buried it.
He would have scored that on his left foot. He would have.
Abilities, haven't they? Abilities.
Pogba would definitely have scored that.
Yeah, but it might finish 3-3 like the Everton game did for him, like getting behind the ball.
With an injury, Ricky.
Team shape not being right. You know what I
mean? Then I keep saying, going back to Ollie, why is the team shape not right? Kev, what say you on this?
Do you know, I've just been sat there enjoying myself. I was really the popcorn again. What do you mean, just on team for Thursday night?
Do you know what? I can't remember what we was actually first talking about. Yeah, we were talking about the week coming up actually, and then Rick brought us into that, which was quite good. But yeah, what do you think to close us out? Last thoughts. We
have to go to Milan. We can't go there. I think we spoke briefly just before we went live. We certainly can't go there with this. Let's stay in the game. Let's get in 0-0 to half time. The emphasis is on Manchester United to go there on Thursday and score the first goal. We know we have to score. If we score one, go for another. I certainly won't sit back. A second goal in that game for United. The best case scenario, if we can go 2-0 up in the first half, that's them out for me. I think you just got to go there and be positive. I'm hoping that Martial and Cavani are back, because I think we've been a bit lightweight up front. But
nothing on the bench as well to bring on with.
That bench the other night, when you looked at it, what did we have to name two keepers?
Yeah, exactly. We had to do that a couple of times.
Players on there, and it was two of the under 23.
Connor Cody should have done better there. Sajaz says, Ollie reminds me of a teenage school days when I could either take the bus or enjoy my ice cream walking back home. It's impossible to compete with City this way. Hope you had a good birthday, Beth.
It wasn't my birthday, it was my friend's, but thank you. I'll let her know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think it was your birthday. Barry Haynes says, question for Ricky, Sancho or Dan James?
I think for the price, it's got to be Dan James, hasn't it?
And... done, guys. Roll on Thursday. Massive game. My God, we can't listen. This is do or die in it. Really, the season could be over by the end of this week. By the time we do the show next week, on next Monday, hopefully we're sitting here both still in 2 cups.
In 2 cups, yeah.
There you go. All right, guys, take care.
Nice one, mate. Good night.
Laters.